outlining a character. Okay, so we are done with stage 1, the preparation of the image. Now we start stage 2, the tracing. I will be using my drawing tablet, the Wacom Intuos. If you don't have a drawing tablet, just follow along with the pen tool and your mouse. You can achieve the same results. I just like to use the drawing tablet because I can do things faster. I will use the pencil tool. The first thing, as you might notice, is that because this layer is locked, I can't start drawing anything. And that's good. I don't want to mess with the reference layer. So I will need to create a new layer by pressing the new icon on the bottom of the layers panel. Okay? This creates a new layer. I will rename it by double-clicking on it and type line, because this is the line stage of the whole process. Okay, now I just have to get some preferences for the pencil tool. It will be no fill, black stroke, and 2 points for the width. I will fast forward the drawing process. As you can see, I tried to pick one of the messy lines from the sketch and always overshoot them. This is important. Whenever there are intersecting lines, they have to be overshoot. And also, notice that I sometimes have to redraw a line many times. Dude, really, if you saw me drawing about a couple of months ago, you would have seen that tracing a sketch would take me about an hour because I had to try to trace a line many times. Sometimes when you're drawing, your hand has very bad aim and you don't get the line correctly. Just undo pressing Ctrl Z or Command Z and try it again. Right now, after 2 months of having my tablet and after many drawings on my belt, I now have improved my drawing skills. You can see that now it takes me about 1 or 2 tries to get the lines correctly. So, if you have a drawing tablet, this is a great way to practice your drawing skills. The ones I struggle the most are circles and long curvy lines. So don't get discouraged. We all start with no skill, and after drawing a lot of times, after a lot of repetition, we just get better. It's part of our biology. Okay, so we're done. I like to disable the sketch just to see if everything is good and dandy. Just press the eye icon on the reference layer. And you can see only our tracing. And another important thing, make sure you exaggerate the overshooting of your lines at the ending of the frame. And close that with a straight line below. This will make it available for painting, okay? I have a line below the image, outside, and above it, outside too. These lines won't be rendered in the final image, so don't worry about it. Nice. Now let's move to the next stage of this, which is cleaning the lines. See you there. Cleaning the lines. So we have the character traced. Now I'm going to expand these lines, and after this, there's no going back. That's why I like to keep a backup. I will duplicate this layer by drawing the line layer to the new layer icon on the bottom. This creates a duplicate of the layer. I will make the line layer invisible and lock it, so it's protected and I don't mess with it. Only one layer visible and unlocked. Let me rename it, double click on the name and type clean. This will be the layer I used for the cleaning process. Okay, let's do this. Press Ctrl A or Command A on Mac to select everything, or just click and drag over all the lines with the white arrow selection tool. Then change the width profile from uniform to variable. Now, we are ready to expand it. Go to Object menu and choose Expand Appearance. There, now it's expanded. Now with everything selected, I want to simplify the curves so it doesn't contain too many points. Go to Object menu, Path, Simplify. Change the curve precision to 90% and press OK. Now it has less points. See? This saves us space and loading time. Now we need to separate the intersections like in the left eye. See? All those intersections, all those overlapping lines, that's what we're going to clean. The problem is that if I select one line, the intersections are not separated. Let me change the layer color to blue because it's easier for me to see it. There. I want to be able to pick the overshoot part and delete it. For that, I need to make it live paint and then expand it into parts. Let me show you the slowest way to do it. You select everything, drawing with the selection tool over all the drawing, and then go to Object, Live Paint, Make. Now it's live paint. Now let's expand it by going to Object menu, Live Paint, Expand. And now it's ready. But before I explain what just happened, I want to show you a quick way of doing exactly this. Let me undo. There. Oh wait, I need the blue color. Now we're ready. This is the fast way. Press Ctrl A to select everything, then the shortcut to make it live paint, which is Ctrl Alt X. Then on the top toolbar, you select Expand, and you're there. Super fast. You know what? Let me undo it and show you at my speed without explaining. It's Ctrl A, Ctrl Alt X, Expand. Done. Less than 2 seconds. Now let me show you what we did, because this is important. This will help us clean it. If I zoom to the left eye and with the white arrow tool select an overshoot line, it's now a separate object. See? I can move it, or better yet, I can delete it pressing the delete key. So this is what you need to do. Let me fast forward. You select with the white arrow tool all the pieces that don't belong to the drawing and all the overshoot lines and delete them. I usually just click on a part, and if a point is selected, I just press delete 2 times. For me, it's faster. And if you make mistakes, you can just undo it. Zoom in and select with precision. This process is easy. Now, even though it's an easy process, it doesn't mean it's quick. On the contrary, it can be a tedious process, but it's worth it. I recommend playing some music in the background, or better yet, playing an audiobook so you can get wiser and smarter as you draw. Okay, here is the cleaned drawing. Some things I want to point out is that for the hair and clothing, I usually leave some overshoot lines to give it some volume. Like in the hair, see these lines? I like to leave those alone. Same with the little beard below his mouth. Okay, so we have the tracing super clean. Coming up next, we need to color it. But first we need to create a color palette. That's what we will do in the next lesson. See you there. Hi, this is Mark Diaz for 2danimation101.com. In the last lesson, we cleaned all the tracing and we ended up with this. Now in this lesson, we will add color to it. For that, we need to create a color palette. I start by creating a new folder on the swatches panel and start adding colors to it. If you don't remember how to do this, just refer to the first lesson of the Painting Tools module. Okay, so here we have it. Now, I don't want to mess around with this layer also, so I will duplicate it like we did on the last lesson. This creates a copy. Let me rename the copy as color. And then lock and hide the clean layer so I don't mess with it accidentally. Now I'm ready to paint. Before painting anything, we need to make it live paint again. I know we made it live paint in the last lesson, but then we expanded it to clean up the lines. And to paint it now, we need to make it live paint again. So I press Ctrl A to select everything and make it live paint using the shortcut Ctrl Alt X. I press K to get the paint bucket tool and start painting it. Just select the color and then click on the area that you want to paint. Super easy. This process is super easy and also super fast. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that you can quickly select a color from the workspace from your drawing. Just hold Alt and click on the color, and that's it, without having to move the mouse to the swatches panel. Okay, there. It's now painted. Let's just do a quick test to see if I painted everything correctly. For that, I just like to create a gray rectangle and put it behind everything. I click and drag from corner to corner, and after I have it there, I press Ctrl-Shift open bracket. Or go to Object Menu, Arrange, Send to Back. And look! Whoopsie daisy, see that? I missed some areas. I missed the eyes and the little gaps above the eyebrows. If you want, you can make that rectangle black to spot errors easier. Let me do them real quickly. I press K to select the bucket tool, Alt-click on the skin color, and fix the problem. A bit of white to the eyes. Perfect. The character is now fully colored. Let me just delete that square we used. And we have it ready. We could leave the image as is, but I like to add shadows to it to make it more professional. That's what we're going to do in the next lesson. See you there! Adding shadows and highlights. Okay, so we have a colored character. It's not bad, but it could look better, don't you think? The first thing I like to do is another backup for this layer. Lock and hide the color layer and rename the copy as shade because of the shading process we will do to it. It's good to have backups. That way you can always go back to a previous stage of the process. Now, let's start by expanding the live paint into paths. Just select all by pressing Ctrl A or Command A on Mac and click on Expand on the top toolbar. Now, every part of this drawing is a path that can be cut with the knife tool. I first select the white arrow tool to make sure of it. Yep, it's ready. Ctrl Z. And now, after I have selected the white arrow tool, I will pick the knife under the eraser. Let's imagine the light source from the top right corner of the screen. I cut and then recolor as needed. I'm doing this with a mouse, by the way. Like I said, in the adding shadows lessons, I already have some practice with light. I know how to add shadows and I understand light source. And for the volume of the objects I'm shading, I imagine them in 3D and try to figure out how the light will affect it. All this light theory is not covered in this course. If you want, you can email me and ask for a course on this if you think it's useful. Right now, I'm assuming you already know the basics of how the lighting works. Okay, so here is the result of the shadows. Notice that for the armor, because it's supposed to be metal, I added the shadows as reflections, so they are not behaving like regular shadows. No, because this is supposed to be metal, and it needs this effect of having multiple lines almost in parallel and with different width. Okay, these were the shadows. Now, I will give this character a better finished look by adding some highlights. What I do here is I just pick the lighter color and create an even lighter color and add that one to the swatches. Note that I use even more tones to the metal. The rule is to have parallel lines with different width and with different tones of the same color. In total, I'm using about 4 or 5 tones for the armor. I even added a darker tone to add to the top part of the dark areas of the armor. Okay, This is the finished look. Very good. So this was the overshoot drawing technique, and with even some shadows. Now that you know how to do this, let's move on to the next lesson, where I prepared a challenge for you. Are you ready for it? Okay, see you there. Okay, so you know the basics of Adobe Illustrator to give a finished look to your character designs. Now, I prepared a challenge for those of you brave enough and smart enough to practice your new acquired skills. Remember, practice makes perfect. In the project files you downloaded for this course, you will find a folder that says Challenge Files. From that folder, you will find 4 sketches for you to practice. Just pick one of them and follow all the steps from the overshoot drawing technique. Give it a finished look with shadows, and if you're brave, also give it some highlights. And after you're done, email your final image to challenge@2danimation101.com, and we will post it on our website. And just as a quick notice, sometimes we need help, so we hire some freelancers to do some work for us. So if we like how you applied this technique, we might send you an email with a job proposal, and we will pay for your work. So if you show us you got some skill applying this technique on sketches, then you can make some money with us. Okay, that's it. Now, what can you do after you learn all of this? That's what I will cover in the next lesson. See you there.